To begin with, Mr. Roongta, we've got a query from a gentleman called Girish. His salary is about 22,000 and he invests about 2,000 in HDFC Top 200 every month through an SIP. He invests about 1,000 rupees in the Kota Gold ETF. He's got a term plan, so of course I'm going to his insurance term plan for about 25 years, about 3,200 rupees per year, and Birla Sun Life Vision Life Insurance for about 20,000 per year. He's got an education loan of 60,000, where he's repaying about 5,000 rupees per month and paying about 3,000 rupees of rent as well. He wants to buy a home in the next 2 years in Pune. He also needs advice of how he should be managing his money, and he's got dependents on him. So he's got his parents who live with him, and they're age 57 and 45 years old age, and he wants a health cover for them as well of about 2 lakh rupees. So I think we've got it all over the place. He's got a little bit of investment that he does in terms of HDFC and the Kota Gold ETF, and then he's got his insurance. He wants to buy a home. Salary is about 22,000 rupees, and in terms of liability, I think he's only got an education loan.
So what I like about Girish is, I think he's thought about his financial life very clearly. He's doing systematic investments. He's thinking about health insurance. He's thinking about buying his house. I think where probably he is going wrong is that I think his major goal currently seems to be buying his house.
Home, right.
And if that is going to happen in the next 2 years, he's got to get together this money for the down payment. And when he has to get together money for the down payment, and I am assuming other resources are not too many, they're scarce, I think putting money in equity, okay, no matter how good the fund is, or even in gold, I don't think is advisable. So I think all this, or in investing in insurance, which is what that other Birla Sun Life Vision Life Insurance, it's a traditional plan with cover till 100 years. I don't think any of these investments make sense, given the fact that he'll need this money after 2 years.
So look at a debt
for paying off the. So he should look at debt. It can be fixed deposit. He's anyway not paying too high a tax because his income is 22,000. So he should definitely look at debt. It could be a recurring deposit. It could be a fixed deposit for this 2-year period, which he can keep renewing till he buys the house. So I think that's first. Should get his investments in order to prepare for the down payment itself. I think he's already bought a term plan. I'm assuming that is enough to meet his insurance needs. He has not mentioned what the amount of the term plan is, but otherwise if that is enough, then the real next key is the health insurance protection, which again the good thing is he's thought about it. I think the fact that he is asking for 2 lakhs only is something that I think he is underestimating the amount of cover he needs. I think the minimum he needs is 3 lakhs for each person, himself as well, both his parents, because when you age, the chance of claim rises and you need enough cover. Right. So if he just takes a family floater, the cover might not be enough. So I think he should take 3 lakhs each for both his parents as well as himself. And that roughly cost him about 16,500 or something. He can also look at taking a top up.
Okay.
After the deductible of 3 lakhs, and that should roughly cost him 4,500. So a total cost of 21,000, but that gives him a cover of roughly about 8 lakhs per person. Okay. So if he can't, does not want to spend that much money, he can let the top up remain for a later year, but definitely 3 lakhs each at that cost of about 16,500 is something that he should definitely do.
Right, Mr. Roongta, I mean, I'm just going to go back to his goal, because he's 27 years of age. His salary is 20,000 rupees per month. It's not bad, but of course, he's got a bit of liability as well up here, right? He's got that education loan. Do you recommend, I mean, and he's young, do you think it possibly makes a lot more sense to try and repay that education loan, get one liability out of the way, and only once that is done, then of course look at acquiring a home? Yeah,
absolutely. That was the other thing that I was mentioning, that tax isn't a big issue. See, typically an education loan tends to be effective if he is paying high taxes. In his case, he is not paying high taxes. So in which case, he better use this investment to first pay off this 60,000 rupees that he has the education loan, and use that 5,000 EMI to do a recurring deposit. He's paying a 5,000 EMI for that education loan. So redeem your gold units, redeem your HDFC top 200 units, surrender your Birla Sun Life Vision, whatever money comes, pay off your education loan.
Okay.
And invest, if any balance is left, invest in a fixed deposit, and that 5,000 rupees that you are saving, put it in a recurring deposit for 2 years.
Girish, that's the advice coming in from you. Couple of factors that you need to watch out for, and Mr. Roongta indicated. One comes in from Sheetal Joshi, and she says she's earning per month about 26,000 rupees. Her husband makes about 70,000 rupees. They've got a couple of expenses. So they've got an EMI of 13,265. Their household expenses about 45,000. So she's got surplus money for about 35,000 that she's looking to invest. She's invested in LIC. She's got an SIP of about 6,000 rupees annually. I think, and that goes towards an equity fund, and approximately about 10,000 the SBI PPF that she recently started putting about 4,000, and she's also started putting 4,200 in a recurring account for about 40 months. She's 30, husband's 32, both are working for a private company. Their key goals are their children's education. She's currently got a child who's only 2 months of age. She's starting to plan early, which is great. His marriage, their retirement regular income. They also look to buy a car and an additional home. How should she get started?
So I think first you need to do, there may not be enough resources. We don't know the value of each of these goals, but given these circumstances, I would say if they were to prioritize their goals, it typically would be possibly be child's higher education, retirement would definitely come top of it, and then you could possibly have an additional home and car, or vice versa. Both these goals, both the major goals that they have, child's education as well as their own retirement corpus, are long-term goals.
Right.
I mean, they're young yet. Their child is just 2 months old, so you're talking of a goal that's more than 20 years away. Any allocation that you do has to be heavy in equity, and it needs to be systematic. I think that's what will give them the maximum bang for their buck. But first, before they start any investments, protection is a must. And for doing that, I think all this investment in insurance is something that takes away from protection. I think they both need at least, she needs about 45 lakhs of life insurance.
Right.
And her husband, given the higher income, needs about 125 lakhs of insurance.
Okay.
If she is investing in LIC, it's unlikely that those policies have these kind of covers. So one, review whether those policies are good, whether she should continue. But this cover is necessary. Normally we advise online term plans. In their case, they should also look at critical illness, and that's not so easily available. So no online plan is offering a critical illness. So maybe in their case, you could look at a policy like an SBI Life Smart Shield policy, which combines. So the insurance element is a little expensive as compared to an online plan, but the add-on benefit that you get of the critical illness makes it a good plan to have. So that's something that they should look at, and that will cost about 11,000 for her and roughly about 26,000 for her husband. So that's roughly 37,000 rupees in a year. So that's roughly 3,000 to 3,200 per month is the cost of life insurance as well as critical illness. Right. They also need to look at health insurance. Again, 3 lakhs individual. Okay, even for the child we advise an individual policy simply because in a floater policy the child will fall out of the policy when he becomes 21, and if he has meanwhile contracted any illnesses, that continuity will not be available to him. So we advise individual policies, 3 lakhs each. They are young yet, and they can look at a 5 lakh top up. That will typically cost them today, because they are so young, it will not cost them more than about 22,000 rupees both put together.
Right.
So I mean, that's another 2,000. So total insurance cost is roughly about 5,200 or 5,300. Balance monies, I think, is something that they should look at
for their goals.
For their goals. Clearly, they need to accumulate roughly about 6.5 crores.
Okay.
That's what we can make out from what they have said, and it's 28 years away. So they have plenty of time. Right. They should allow their money to go in a high growth area, and a monthly investment of 15,000 with 90% equity, okay, and say 10% in PPF. Something like a PPF would be excellent. So I think that's something that we would advise. The 6,000 rupees that she is already putting in the SIPs, that they can consider for the child's education purpose. For marriage, etc., if more money is available, again you can put.
That becomes a long-term goal anyway.
And you can put their 10% in gold, since that gold can be used.
Right.
So I mean, roughly we would advise, say, 2,600 rupees, 90% in a long-term diversified equity fund, large cap fund, and 10% in a gold.